I was watching a video today on YouTube. Okay, I can't say the name of the content creator. I can't say his name. I would be responsible because I know if I say his name, a lot of you guys will go over there and look and whatnot. But he had a video about divestors. His channel specializes in busting the balls off of these divestors. Okay, and I want to make myself very clear. I do not care if women divest. Okay, I don't care what they're doing with their box. Okay, that's their box. It's a part of their body. I don't own any black women and shit. Okay, I don't do that shit. It's against the fucking law. I hope you would think and shit. We are not afforded that same courtesy in our supposed ethnic community, and I'm gonna keep saying that shit until I croak off, until I die. I'm gonna keep saying that because I don't feel like we have a community. We can't stand on business and shit. This is not what this video is about. Okay, it's not what this video is about and shit. But in the opening segments of this video, this guy has the social media page. You know, he has done his due diligence, right? And he is taking. I don't know if it was him or wherever the source material came from, but they crossed out her last name. All right, they crossed out her last name and shit. All right, this person is a monster. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a father. All right, I'm a father, and I have a kid that I'm raising right now, and I consider this person to be a threat, an existential threat to my son, your nephew, your cousin, and shit out there because she spreads hatred and vitriol all over social media. And she is unchecked and unbalanced and whatnot. Maybe some people have made some headway into reporting her ass and shit because I know that she changes her screensaver. It's minimized it at first and then changed it to something else. All right, this is a black woman and shit. I throw up in my mouth saying that she does not qualify as a black woman. I don't even know if she self-identifies as a black woman and shit. Okay, I don't know if she self-identifies as a black woman. How could you? But then again, what we know of our women and shit, in part a good a portion of them and shit, none of them should call themselves black women and shit. Right? They need to find some other name for themselves because they don't consider themselves a part of our ethnic group, despite DNA and ethnic markers and whatever you want to call it and shit. She is an existential crisis. I feel that she should be on a watch list, okay? A government watch list. I believe that I'm on a government watch list and shit. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm on one of those shits. And, one of the two reasons would be, well, I can't say that, but, I was on this other website and I was posting shit there. The guy's website got taken down because an overzealous member of this supposed community went on a shooting spree supposedly in the New York subway. So this that guy had posted on the man's you know private site or whatever. He had posted on there, and the FBI took that shit over. Even if you go there, you would see an FBI logo and shit, and seeing some redirecting you somewhere. You know, so I'm pretty. I was on there. I was posting some. Just imagine the Geek Underground with no filter. Okay, I was getting in. I was getting it in on over there. All right, all right. So I'm pretty sure I'm on the watch list. I don't think this woman is on the watch list and whatnot. Not that disturbs me because she is essentially one of the grandmasters of the hate group that runs roughshod over social media, making videos disparaging black men. It's not just disparaging black men. She makes videos celebrating the deaths of black men. Talking about supporting police that harm black men and shit. Okay, all right. I don't even want to get into the Derek Chauvin and stuff. You know, that some of her and her followers have gleefully reported on this shit, and and luxuriating in it. They enjoyed the death of DMX amongst other people. Don't even I don't want to bring up The Godfather, but they bring up The Godfather. If we say Kevin Samuels, then they rug sweep every goddamn thing and shit. Their whole objective is to gaslight us into oblivion and minimize everything they fucking do while escalating every fucking year. Okay? Every fucking year. So I was disturbed when I saw this picture and shit. Okay? Someone had found her social media. I know her fucking first name. I don't know her last name. I'm glad that I don't know her last fucking name and shit. Okay? It's not a matter of doxing and shit. I would like to feel safe. Okay? I'm a man. I'm 56 years old. I don't know if I think this woman is somewhere in my age group a little bit. I'm a little bit older than her. I'm pretty sure of it and shit. I've seen, when you post pictures on the internet, a lot of people post their best pictures and shit. But I've seen a picture that she didn't intend to get out and shit. And she is an old broad with some noticeable gray in there. Okay, she is an old motherfucking broad and shit. And, one of my running buddies of the last couple of years who's kind of dialed it down, he made a video describing what he thought she looked like, and he was right to a T. Okay, Bunker, you were right. Okay, I can't give this information out. I don't even want anyone going looking at the fucking video because you may do what I'm gonna say that I did and shit. All right, there's no definitive full picture of her fucking face, but this motherfucker was friends with the cuck of another divester and shit, the black, effeminate male whose name I can't say because I don't want you to do what I did. She was Facebook friends with this guy, and I found it funny and alarming at the same time. And redoubled what I thought that she should be on a government watch list for hate groups. Okay, for hate groups. All right. So, the person I'm talking about is known as Divested Zealot. Okay, Divested Zealot. She is a mouth frothing, misandrous black female, as far as I know. Okay, she may be a tether. Who the fuck knows? All right, and she is a big back. She has no fucking neck. Okay, her neck is in the layaway. That shit. She's head and shoulders. She's a big back. All right. She may have been attractive at one point. But one of the pictures that I saw is this woman. She fits right into that mold of these angry, bitter, acid-ass black women and shit. Who may or may not be married to some poor son of a bitch. Alright? I can come on here just to, fuck around with this shit because I describe myself as a misogynist anarchist and shit. It's out of necessity. It's for survival of myself and the community at large and whatnot. Alright? It's out of necessity that I would describe myself as that. There's no getting around it. Shit, you're not getting out of this shit. When you leave the country, when you go abroad, they're gonna follow you and try to implement the same, bullshit that we grew up in. This social engineering. They can't help it. They are the slave catchers and shit. So it's not like I could just ignore the bitch, And every day she is inspiring more women to do this bullshit, even though they're the antagonists in our fucking community. They're the ones doing this shit. They're the ones mass producing these men they complain about and shit. And they don't want to take any responsibility for their own fucking womb, but they want you to put your hands over your eyes, blindfold yourself, and pull a lever down and shit, and vote for body autonomy and shit. Why would I do that when you can't self-regulate? You guys don't have a code of conduct amongst yourselves. You're the least likely to be quote unquote race loyal and shit, or even hold a motherfucker down in a relationship. You're the least likely to understand and adhere to a non-disclosure agreement on any fucking level. So why would somebody want to do any kind of business with you? Okay? When this woman is a monster. Okay, she's a monster. Her name is Divested Zealot. Her name is Divested Zealot. Shit. And this guy had little flakes. You shouldn't give. I have. I grew up in a nuclear family initially, and then it became a matriarchal led family and whatnot. And to me, being self-aware all this time and shit. I had to carry the cross for the man that was no longer there. I had to, I had to take abuse. I had to become a sin eater and shit. And I was self-aware the entire time that I was going through what I was going through behind those walls. Okay, I love my parents, both of my parents equally, and I lament what the family became after their deaths because they were the glue that held the family apart together. And they were their parenting styles, man and woman, contributed to me being the last of my kind. Right? I do have what you would consider siblings, but we are not the same people. We're not people. Okay? It doesn't, it used to hurt, but it really doesn't hurt. I mean, they were retarded, it was a misandrous, it became a misandrous gulag in there. Okay? I want to tell you this because I want you to know that I'm coming to you as a human being and whatnot. I'm not trying to be a paragon of virtue or say I'm better than anyone or present any kind of, I'm not trying to be like some fatherly advice even though I'm 56 and shit. I want you to survive because I know I'm not the only one out there. Okay? I know I'm not the only one out there. You got to get the fuck out of here, guys. Okay? You got to keep it moving and shit. You cannot co-sign any bullshit that you don't feel comfortable doing this shit. They want you to do this. They want you to stay in the system. They want to perpetuate this retarded, broken system and shit that is the black community. This is not me hating my own community. I love my community and shit. I love black people. Okay? I don't love black misandrous women. Okay? I don't love that shit. And I don't love these, I don't love these dark witches. This woman is a monster. Okay? She's a monster. Anybody listen to this bullshit, you'll turn it off after about like 5 or 10 minutes and whatnot. A lot of guys go over there listening to that bullshit just to try to make sense of it. Right? There's no sense to be made. Right? And the things she say is alarming. Is it any worse than things that I've posted and done, online here on this platform and others? Who knows? I know I was going wild and out on that one website that got taken down by the FBI and shit, and that's only because of the guy supposedly going on the shooting rampage, and then they had in the paper over there talking about this guy was listening to red pill content, and he went crazy and shit, and I think he just winged somebody or something. I'm not minimizing that bullshit. Actually, I had to drop another dude off my page because he had a video where he was brandishing a weapon and shit, going off the deep end. He had seen something that pissed him off, and he was showing his weapon. And I messaged him. I said, you should take that video down because, you won't get a knock at the door from the cops and the FBI, man. They're going to come over there, man. You can't do that kind of shit online. And he just ignored it, so I had to drop him off my page, man. And I figured that, the FBI would come over my house. I got nothing. They can come and get these fucking laptops out of here, I carry water for so many people and shit that I shouldn't have carried water for. I was 100% for people that, I shouldn't have been carrying water for and shit. And, I had to have some responsibility. The responsibility that was accidentally taught to me, my integrity, my work ethic that was accidentally taught to me. They never intended for me to be shit. That's what they thought. What they were making me. Right? They forged me. They made me a strong person and shit. And it saved my life. And I want to save your life and shit. Alright? That's why I make this fucking video. About Divesta Zealand shit. She's a monster. She is a monster. Okay? She's not getting any professional help, and I don't care. I don't think anyone can help her. I don't think anyone can help any black woman with this mindset and shit, okay? You're not going to hear any black woman coming to you with her hat in her hand, with her hair hat in her hand, I guess, saying what I'm saying to them. They're on the other side of their motherfucking gender line. This shit has permeated our ethnic group and made it insolvent. Okay, we have no political power. We're economically insolvent, and we got motherfuckers running the block, and we got ops, and we got tethers in this bitch, and a lot of that shit starts at the top of this supposed community which is a matriarchy. There's no patriarchy in the black community whatsoever. They can't prove shit, but they just keep repeating the same talking points and shit. Right? And you want to tell me it's a patriarchy in this community? Explain the Obamas to me. Explain the Michelle and Barack there, and their relationship post his presidency. And once he then got a bag, here she is, she running the block. She out of pocket. She done broke the script. Right? She done broke character, showing who she really is. Right? This woman, all she does is sit up all day and spread hatred and bullshit all over the place and shit. The pages that I have of the social media presence that I have that goes along these lines is reactionary. Okay? It's reactionary. I'd rather be doing something else, a lot of other things. But, a bunch of women decided that they would continue the family legacy of destroying the men there. Mentally destroying them, spiritually breaking them and shit, so that they can't make a decision. They would just blindly follow women that don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. It's not about doing shit. Okay? They're just sitting there doing dumb shit, They're children. Right? They're not doing anything. Right? Even if they get something, it's not gonna be self-sustainable and shit. Because you can't build nothing with stolen money and stolen assets and no plan. And no common sense, and no common decency, and no respect for your parents and your family. I had to watch almost 100 years of my personal family history destroyed because it was left in the wrong hands. It was left in female hands. They had no respect. The only thing they wanted to do was data mine that shit for whatever reason, and they didn't care. They didn't care about it. Like, hey, I don't need this shit. I just need the money, because I'm a piece of shit. And I ain't never had to do nothing with my life and shit. People always was out there holding my hand. I never had to do nothing by myself. And I just kept fucking going there and pulling the lever down and shit until I destroyed this goddamn family. Right? Destroyed this goddamn family. It's one of the reasons I make the page. I know I keep weaving in and out of this divested zealot thing, but it's important that I tell you who I am as a person and shit, to be honest here with you. Okay? I didn't come here to fuck around on in there and play and shit. A while back I was going at it with the Asian misandrist, Kimchi Karen and shit, and she wrote me, oh, we're just all here to have fun or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? What's fun about the degradation of my fucking community and the shit I have to look at every goddamn day while I'm, digitally kidnapped? Okay? It's pretty fucked up. Alright? It's pretty fucked up. All they care about is resources. They don't particularly want to do anything with the fucking resources. And part of them caring about nothing but that and having a childish mindset is they want you to hurry up and die. You have to co-sign this shit blindly, take copious amounts of abuse, and have your will destroyed. You cannot have any dreams of anything and shit. They'll destroy it. Okay? And they're spreading this shit across generations. They're teaching their daughters and their granddaughters and their fucking nieces, their way of thinking and shit. They're indoctrinating them. Okay? For lack of a better term and shit. And we know that this shit gets innovated every couple of months. They take it to the next level. Right? They take it to the next level and shit. I was seeing levels of inhuman indifference and intolerance amongst black females that is alarming to me. Alarming. Alright? I got 2 children. They're boys. Alright? I disowned my firstborn. I should call him the first survivor. Okay? First survivor. When I was growing up, I didn't have anyone to explain, these situations to me, to be there for me and shit. Even though I had my father there. I could see my father every day if I wanted to. All I had to do was get on a bus and take 2 buses to Hyde Park, a block or so away from the Museum of Science and Industry, and see my dad and whatnot. And he wasn't talking about shit. Okay? He wasn't a do-nothing person. This man was well connected, right? So much so, it's an indictment that I was unaware of a lot of, what he was doing and, who he was and shit, and until after his death, when his remains and his legacy was left in the hand of people that he thought he could trust. And he couldn't trust nobody. He didn't have nobody he could trust. But he could trust me and shit, but he did. I guess he didn't. Okay? Now I want to be honest. I'm being transparent about this and shit. I don't want you men out there, you boys, whoever you are, that's going through what I went through. I don't want you to follow in my footsteps. I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to be a ghost. Alright? I don't want you to be in the phantom zone and shit. Okay? It doesn't bother me. I was sitting in this phantom zone for a minute just watching the black and white TV in my fucking room. I don't want you to come down that road and see me there. Okay? I want you to go the other way. Alright? Get out of this motherfucking shit. Get out there. Okay? Any child that you have, or any woman that you're in a relationship with, any child that comes from that's going to be a black child and shit. We are the most vilified on the planet. This ain't no victim narrative. It's truth. Alright? We have really very little to work with within whatever's now known as the established black community and shit, the circa 2025. There's very little to work with there. You really don't have the time to be out there looking for a fucking unicorn. Okay? You don't have the time to be out there doing that shit. Okay? You gotta keep it a buck. You gotta hit the ground running and shit. You're not here for someone else. Your achievements are your achievement. Your money is your money. Your life is your life. You're not here to be in a partnership, as they like to call it. Okay? It's your life we're talking about. You gotta care about that. Okay? You gotta care about it more than anybody else care about it, even your motherfucking kids. Right? I want you to have a quality of life that I didn't have, and I don't know that I ever will have and shit. I live in a world where, I'm okay. I'm fine. But I don't know that I could ever be in any kind of a relationship again. I don't know that I could ever, I've only been married once. Alright? It didn't work out. It wasn't a black woman. Alright? And that's not out of necessity and shit. I initially intended to marry the mother of my first child and shit, and I had it in my head how I was going to get married and shit. And it didn't work out. Okay? I tried to explain the shit to this person, and they was just going off the deep end because they was on that program to, secure the bag and resources. Even if I didn't have anything yet, they were securing my potential. They were listening to their misandrous, shitty-ass mother who didn't have no fucking man, but was talking about, what a man ain't and all this bullshit, to a motherfucker that was keeping it 10 toes down with her progeny, with her offspring. I'm not going to get into that right now. And I can't really legally speak in this shit, honestly. So maybe part of future litigation and shit, if nothing else and whatnot, because I'm the kind of person that I very silent. I'm deceptively silent, and I carry a big motherfucking stick, big as a redwood. And maybe that day won't come. So that being said, I thought that we could do the whole Krypton thing and shit, and I could just help some of you brothers out by telling you about these things and making commentaries, so that you won't go down the road that I went down. You won't be in this situation. I want black men to save themselves. And I'd like to help out with that by talking to you. Alright, Kings? This is the reason I gave you the 3 rules. I won't do it right now. Okay? This is not a ramble. This is me sitting down and telling you, how I feel about things. And, what I think about the community, the supposed community. There's no fucking community, okay? There's no ethnic community, no black community. This woman is a monster. She's not alone out there. Now, take that in consideration when you're out there. Protect your seed, okay? Protect yourself, protect your resources, man. Use it for yourself. Save yourself, black man, okay? Save yourself, black man. That's why SBM.